Namah Shivaya Shantaya Krunavatarine Paśūnaṁ Pateye Nityam Liṅga Te Namaha. As we continue into the sacred current of the Liṅga Purāṇa, we move from the vastness of the cosmic creation into something more intimate, into the glory of Lord Shiva Himself. This movement is not about how the universe was formed, but about who stands beyond it. Not about the mechanics of time, but about the presence that remains when time dissolves. The Liṅga Purāṇa does something very subtle here. After describing the elements, cycles, and creation, it turns our attention toward Mahadev, toward his nature, his grace, his stillness, his role as Sthāṇu, and his compassion as Paśupati. The teaching deepens. The focus shifts from structure to essence. The movement becomes quieter. The teaching becomes more inward. And let us enter gently. In this portion of the sacred unfolding, something subtle but powerful is revealed. Creation has already begun. The worlds exist, the beings move, the lineages expand. Yet, now we are shown a deeper truth about Mahadev. Not merely as creator or dissolver, but as the one who stands beyond mortality itself. When Lord Brahma requests Rudra to create beings subject to death, Lord Shiva does not comply. He does not create mortal beings. His nature is not bound to decay, not aligned with the cycle of birth and death, because he is called Sthāṇu, the unmoving, the steady, the eternal axis. Mortality belongs to the field of becoming, but Mahadev stands prior to the becoming. He is untouched by time, and yet he is not distant. He is Śaṅkara, the one who brings auspiciousness without effort. He does not struggle to bless, and he does not labor to uplift. His grace flows naturally like a river descending from the Himalayas. It is said that virtue, knowledge, detachment, and even prosperity arise by his blessing, not through force and not through intellectual accumulation, but through grace. This is where the heart of this teaching turns inward. The sages ask, what leads beings toward suffering, and what leads them toward liberation? And the answer is not complexity, it is refuge. Those who seek refuge in Mahadev do not fall into despair. Even one entangled in wrongdoing is not abandoned if he turns sincerely toward him. And this is not indulgence, it is compassion. The Lord of all beings does not measure the weight of past actions the way the world does. He responds to surrender. Then we are shown another movement, the story of Mata Sati. Mata Sati, the embodiment of devotion, who immolates herself in anguish at the insult of Mahadev. When Lord Shiva contemplates her, from his very being arise countless Rudras. They fill the worlds, they shine with brilliance, they are deathless, ageless, radiant. The 14 worlds are pervaded by their presence. It is as if divine force multiplies itself when love is wounded. But again, Mahadev does not create mortal beings. That role remains only with Lord Brahma. Lord Shiva remains beyond the limitations of decay. He is not merely another deity among deities. He is the ground beneath them. And then comes the secret, the rahasya. It is said that even yogins who practice discipline, who cultivate detachment, who master breath and posture, still move toward heaven or hell according to their actions. Effort alone is not the final key, and knowledge alone is not sufficient. What awakens true knowledge? Grace. By His grace, knowledge arises. Through knowledge, the yoga stabilizes, and through yoga, liberation unfolds. everything rests ultimately upon His grace. And this is the humbling. It dissolves spiritual pride, it softens the heart. The sages then still inquire, how does the Lord bestow this grace? Through what form? Through what path? And we are told that the teaching of yoga itself is transmitted through lineage, not invented and not discovered independently, but handed down through Mahadev's own manifestations. The Liṅga Purāṇa also mentions about the cycles of time. Across the Dwapara ages and the Kali ages, sage Vyasas appear to compile knowledge. The Yogacharyas appear to guide seekers. The names are many, there are countless teachers and countless disciples, but the thread running through them is one. It is Mahadev who ensures that the knowledge of the Vedas and the Puranas is never lost. It is He who incarnates as the silent guide, and it is He who stands behind every lineage. And across kalpas, universe emerge and dissolve, and across all the yugas, the darkness deepens and clarity fades. But again and again, Mahadev manifests to restore the path of yoga. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, through teachers, through disciples, and through transmission. And then comes one of the most profound names, Paśupati. All beings, from gods to humans to the most restless spirits, are all called Pashus. Bound beings, bound by ignorance, bound by ego, bound by attachment and by fear. We're not condemned, we're just bound. And He is the Paśupati, the Lord of the bound. And that changes everything. That we're not distant from Him, we belong to Him. And He is not a distant judge. He is the Lord who unties the knot. The Paśupata Yoga is not a rigid system. It is a path by which the bound soul recognizes its Lord and is released from bondage. And those who walk this path smear the sacred ash upon their bodies, not just as ritual alone, but as remembrance, that all forms will ultimately return to ash, that ego will dissolve, and that what remains is the imperishable self. The countless list of teachers and disciples are not just meant to overwhelm, they're meant to reassure. The knowledge has never vanished. In every age, someone carries it, and in every age, Mahadev breathes through someone who remembers. Liberation is not distant, it is not reserved for the flawless, and it is not achieved by arrogance. It unfolds when knowledge and detachment meet, and that meeting is made possible through His grace. We strive, we practice, we reflect, but the final opening is grace. The Liṅga Purāṇa, the Uttarabhaga, speaks the glory of Mahadev, where Mahadev stands steady as Sthāṇu, unmoving, and he shines as Śaṅkara, the giver of auspiciousness, and he reveals himself as Paśupati, the Lord who releases. And as we sit with these revelations, perhaps the most comforting truth is this: Mahadev stands as Sthāṇu, the Unmoving One. While worlds rise and dissolve, ages turn and bodies age, while minds fluctuate and identities shift, He remains steady, unshaken, unfading, and death does not touch Him. Time does not diminish Him. When we remember Sthāṇu, something within us also becomes still. We begin to sense that beneath all our changing experiences, there is a witnessing presence that does not decay. And then there is grace, not earned, not calculated, or not demanded. Grace is not the reward of perfection. It is the compassion of Mahadev. Knowledge arises by His grace. Yoga becomes steady by His grace, and liberation unfolds by His grace. When knowledge and detachment meet within us, it is because His light has touched that inner space. And we, all of us, are Pashus. the bound beings, bound by memory, bound by fear, bound by attachment and ego and habit. And this is not condemnation, it is the honesty. But he is Paśupati, the Lord of the bound. He does not stand apart from us. He stands as the one who loosens the knot. There is an unmoving presence within us. There is grace available to us. And there is the Lord who claims us as his own. May we remember Sthāṇu when we feel unstable. May we trust his grace when we feel unworthy. And may we turn to Paśupati when we feel bound. May Jagat Pita Mahadev bless us all. Keep seeking, keep chanting, keep surrendering. Om Namah Shivaya.